Levi Clay, and I am back for another episode of Guitar Books That You Must Own. This particular episode is about Don Mock, and I'm going to lift the book up now, and it's probably not the book that you were expecting. Don is obviously very, very well known and respected for his education history, being one of the first guys at GIT out in LA back in the day. He has written a series of great books, the Guitar series, Guitar Secrets books, where he talks about things like symmetrical scales and the like. You've got the whole tone and diminished thing, you've got the harmonic minor book, you've got the melodic minor book, etc. They're great, and I was going to talk about those because they are absolutely must-owns, and if you don't own those, go out and get them immediately. The reason I chose to talk about this book is because this is one of Don's lesser known books. I love this book, Mastering the Dominant Chord. The reason I love this book is because it's the book that just keeps on giving. It's one of the first books in a very long time that introduced me to a theoretical concept that I hadn't previously considered. Now, that's not to say that he's the first person to do it. That just demonstrates my ignorance. I just hadn't been presented with the right materials at that point to have this concept introduced. Mastering the Dominant Chord talks about dominant chords in all contexts. So static dominant vamps, functioning dominant chords, and secondary dominant chords. And that secondary dominant chord part is the part that really grabbed me with Don's Mastering the Dominant Chord book. Because in general, if I was playing over a chord progression like C major, D7, F, C. In that context, you can plainly look at that and say, well, C is the 1 chord in the key of C, the F is the 4 chord in the key of C, so the 2 chord, the D, is non-diatonic, therefore it's a secondary dominant chord. You can look at any secondary dominant chord, though in that case it's not actually functioning like a dominant chord, so less, but the point is it's a borrowed dominant chord. It's a dominant chord borrowed from another key. Now, the concept behind Don's secondary dominant studies that I really got into is this idea of the correct scale to play over a secondary dominant chord. Now, that was something I hadn't considered. Up until that point, I'd always said to myself, I'd always made the assumption, that okay, we've got a dominant chord borrowed from another key. Either it's functioning, in which case I can play any of my altered vocabulary, so Superlocrian, Phrygian dominant, whole tone, etc. Or it was non-functioning, like the D7 example that I'd given you. In that case, my logic would always be, well, I play Lydian dominant over it. It's a non-functioning dominant chord borrowed from another key. But actually there's more to it than that. There are examples where the most correct scale would be the Mixolydian scale, sometimes where it's Mixolydian flat 6, sometimes where it's Lydian dominant, etc. It's all about the context of the chord and where the chord has been taken from and the key that you're in originally, and combining those two in order to create a scale that is the most seamless over that chord that's non-diatonic. The other thing that's fantastic about this book, and it's actually the same with the Guitar Secrets book, they've just been a little bit better about marketing it, is that on the cover, it talks about over 2.5 hours of private lessons. Now, what people usually expect when they pick up a book and it has a CD in it is all of the musical examples played. Not the case with Don's books. As I say, it's much better hinted at here. It's the audio workshop series. This 2.5 hour private lesson is essentially a 2.5 hour seminar. It's Don Mock talking for 2.5 hours. Now, I have all of the books from this series and all of the Guitar Secrets ripped as MP3s, and they're all on my iPod or iPhone now. So I used to listen to them quite a lot when I was on public transport and just listen to Don talk and play and demonstrate stuff. That's a concept that I don't see people doing enough. And when you're a player as fantastic as Don Mock is and was, and a serious heavyweight in education, he's somebody that you jump on that opportunity. You jump on the opportunity to listen to Don Mock talk and explain and demonstrate his concepts, especially when he's covering a concept as interesting as secondary dominant chords and vocabulary for playing over them. So there we have it, Don Mock's Mastering the Dominant Chord. Do you have any Don Mock fans out there? I'm a big Don Mock fan, a lot of respect for Don Mock. I proudly own his CD, Speed of Light, on CD. I took a while tracking that one down. Yeah, absolutely fantastic player, ferocious picker, just a really, really great educator and inspiring player. Real ferocious technique, as I say, repeating myself now. So let me know your thoughts on Don in the comments box below. Hit the subscribe button, which really helps the channel out, and of course like and share this video with your friends, colleagues, peers. Well, actually, if you didn't like this video, share it with your enemies. I guess that also helps, and then they can come and leave abusive comments in the comment box below. If that's what you choose to do, well, I thank you for your time either way. Thanks guys, I'll see you soon.